First book is The Pocket, Pema Children, one of my favorite books. When I say pocket, I mean pocket. I mean, I can put it in here. You won't know that I had something in my pocket. 20 jokes can come from that. But really tiny. You might have saw it in the thumbnail. It is tiny. Like my hands aren't huge or anything. It fits literally just outside of my palm. Fantastic book. Pema Chodron is actually a Buddhist monk, specifically Tibetan Buddhism. And she was born here in America. I think she was over in New Mexico, not too far from where I'm based here in Las Vegas. And she had an epiphany one day. Often epiphanies uh, are follow some type of personal trauma. And her case was not an exception. I'll let her tell it. I will not retell her story. And in that, and she discovered Buddhism probably in her, I'd say mid to late 20s. Now I'm guessing, is well into her 80s, something like that, maybe even her 90s. But she's up there now. And so she has 60, 70 years of wisdom. And so, this little pocket thing, it is beautiful. I'm going to do some Russian roulette and do some random stuff here. Mm. 49. The daring of having no enemies. Whether it's ourselves, our lovers, bosses, children, a local Scrooge, or the political situation, it's more daring and real not to shut anyone out of our hearts and not to make the other into an enemy. If we begin to live like this, we'll find that we actually can't make things completely right or completely wrong anymore because things are a lot more slippery and playful than that. Everything is ambiguous. Everything is always shifting and changing. And there are as many different takes on any given situation as there are people involved. Trying to find absolute rights and wrongs is a trick we play on ourselves to feel secure and comfortable. Now, there are certain, I believe, ethical rights and wrongs, but when it comes to, and moral, if you want to use that term, but when it comes to how people decide to live their lives, that's where it gets slippery. That's not the right thing to do. Well, it's not your life. This gets even more complicated when, again, I'm a parent twice over. So when you have kids, when you have older relatives, or even not even older, other people that are adults that are dependent on you, and you have to make decisions for them. What is right and what is wrong? We just went through a really intense, and are still going through a really intense political time here in America. a a lot of y'all in the Western world are also going through intense times in your respective countries. As we go through these things, what we often forget is that we still need to talk to the people that we have beef or issues with. Like you can get into a big argument with your spouse, a big argument with your kids, a big argument with your boss, or even the people that look up to you or that you supervise. And you might win that argument, and then you still need to see them the next day at breakfast or at the proverbial water cooler. You still need to live with everybody else. I think that's one of the biggest challenges that we've had, particularly here in America over the past 10 years, is that there's things that are said, decisions that are made that make us think that we're in two different places. But at the end of the day, we're at the same place. If you're in America, you're an American. If you're in Britain, then you're part of the UK, et cetera, et cetera. If you're part of a family, you're always part of a family. And if you're in a work environment and you treat someone like crap and they come the next day, you might need something from them. That's kind of the nature of working together. This is really good. As you can tell, I just did the random pull here, as we used to say. I just did a random pull, and it was amazing insight. You saw that took me 30 seconds, maybe a minute to read, and I was really taking my time. This book is fantastic for reflection. I've been, I'm going to say this. I've been to some tense family gatherings and had this in pocket, and then had to take some bathroom breaks to remember who the hell I was. So I would highly recommend you grab the book, even as just look at it as a, like a fire extinguisher thing. You know what I mean? The thing that you pull. I think it's called you break the glass in case of fire. That kind of thing. Boom, pull it in case. Uh, uh, that, that's a line right there. As we say in hip hop, that's a bar. Do you want to be right or do you want to fix this? I would go even further. That and do you want to be right or do you want to leave other people whole? What are you trying to do? Are you trying to build community or are you trying to prove that you're right all along? You know, and it's okay if you want to be right. I, I I'm going on episode 410 of this show just so I can give my opinion and hear from you. So I'm not one to be humble as far as my particular perspective. I have no problem giving my POV. That said, that doesn't mean that I'm right all the time. Those are really big distinctions. Thanks for the comment. That was fantastic. So, when is the last time you struggled with being right or doing something that was better for the whole? I'd love to hear that in the comments. Jump in there. Let me know what's going on. Hopefully, this tiny book will be of use to you. I highly recommend it. I think it's like, yeah, it's less than $10. Just get it. Just stop playing around. All the links are below. Before I forget, I'm entrepreneurial coach Damon Brown. I'm here to help you as a side hustler, solopreneur, otherwise a non-traditional entrepreneur. You're watching Bring Your Worth TV, coming to you live on Wednesdays at 1:11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Vegas time. You can subscribe below on Twitch, as is on the screen, as well as on Spotify, as well as on YouTube, as well as following me on LinkedIn, wherever you get your news. Thank you for coming through. Fantastic book. Simple question. When's the last time that you felt like that you were absolutely right and then you realized that might not actually make sense? And in fact, perhaps there was another point of view you didn't understand. I'm in that situation all the time again. I'm a parent, I have family. That's kind of how it works. My next favorite book is The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Stephen, I hope you're doing wonderful. I love your work. The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Break through the blocks and win your inner creative battles. I'm reading it slow because I'm reading it backwards. Another tiny book, not as tiny as Fema. Shout out to Fema, but it is a tiny book, and you can tell it's well worn. So I'm walking the walk here. I'm not just giving you random information. Oh man, War of That Art is a fantastic book. Oh, before I get into that, I totally forgot. If you want to go deeper, till I need more coffee today. If you want to go deeper with Pema Children's Work, definitely check out How to Get Centered Today. It's a live show I did in the wee years of 2022. If you guys remember 2022. So it's about 2 or 3 years ago. Really appreciate this episode. It's about being grounded in times of chaos. Hey, this is live recorded in 2025. You go back to this recording in 2022, the stuff that Pema does and anything that will get you centered, it's always useful. People say we're unprecedented times. You gotta know your history. It's a good way to go have a flashback and give some type of grounding to that. If you need more grounding, jump in the comments. Let me know how you're grounding yourself in this amazing quote unquote